My biggest financial regret that I've ever had in life was purchasing a home back in 2021 for these three reasons. Number one, I had to put a 30% down payment on my home. My down payment was roughly around $330,000.
Whoever thinks that they want a Tesla, they don't. That's the worst mistake of my life. I've had it for like, I don't know, like a month or two. And I literally have to charge it at a charging station every single day because I don't have a charger at my house.
Have you had it for? About 6 months. And how many times have you used it within those 6 months? Maybe three. Maybe
3 times.
What does that cost, anyways? Too much. It'd be for like 5,000, 6,000, 10,000. Closer to 10 than 5.
Hello everyone, I am your host Breanna Rutter to this video series called What's Going On in the World. We're going to be watching some clips about millennials' worst purchases. These are purchases they totally regret and we're going to hear why. I'm definitely going to be sharing my hot takes on this and I want y'all to do the same in the comments below.
The worst purchase you've ever made? Like to this day, you still look back and confuse yourself as to why you did it.
Whoever thinks that they want a Tesla, they don't. That's the worst mistake of my life. I've had it for like, I don't know, like a month or two. And I literally have to charge it at a charging station every single day because I don't have a charger at my house. I'm f***ing over it.
You know what? That's the main regret people have with EVs, electric vehicles, is the fact that they have to charge it all the time. Now, different models you may get, and we're talking about Tesla here because that's the main electric vehicle that people are driving. Different Tesla models you get will require a different frequency of charging. Some may last a little longer, some may not. But the average seems to be people are needing to charge their vehicle every day or every other day, especially if they drive often, which most of us do. Now, if you're privileged enough to work from home, that's a different story. You're not going to have to charge it as much, but most people still have to clock in and clock out at a job that's not at their home. And that's the part that people don't calculate is the time it's taking away from your precious life when you have to sit at them charging stations to charge your vehicle. I'm not against necessarily having one if I wanted to purchase an electric vehicle because I work from home, but I don't subscribe to all the hype, you guys. Like I'm totally fine driving my own vehicle, not necessarily needing a vehicle to drive me. And I'm with the times, okay? I see the benefit in having that self-driving capacity for those who do have that added on with their actual Tesla. But at the same time, I don't want to spend all that time charging my car up when my mindset is like, shouldn't vehicles run on gasoline? So if you don't have an actual charger at home and you don't work from home, it kind of doesn't make sense to necessarily have an electrical vehicle. That's just my hot take on it, y'all.
I want a gas car again. I just want to go to the gas pumps and take 2 minutes. I'll even wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes for a pump. I don't care. I do not want to charge a car ever again.
I'm curious to know, what's the average length charge time wise it's taking you when you're charging your electric vehicle? For some, I've heard it takes up to 3 hours. That's ridiculous. Why is it taking that long to charge? Is there like a certain type of premium charging station you can use to make your charge go even faster? Is there like a such thing as like a turbo charge or something like that? Because if it's even an hour, that's too long, at least for me, and maybe for other people as well, because time is precious. Nobody wants to be sitting there at the charging station, not even for an hour to charge it, okay? So let me know how long it typically takes you to charge your Tesla or your electric vehicle.
Ever.
What's a bad financial decision that you guys regret making in life?
The above ground hot tub.
What does that mean?
It means I bought an above ground hot tub and I regret it every day of my life.
Like, can you unpack that real quick? Like, you bought an above ground hot tub?
I did.
Like an apartment in a house? How does that work?
Nah, so I bought a house and there's an above ground hot tub in the back and I regret it personally.
Why do you regret it? Why is it regret?
Because every single day I don't use it. It is a
Why'd you buy it?
because at the time I thought it was awesome, and currently no, I'm not using it as much as I thought I was.
That's why he regretted. He's not using it often. And he even mentioned like, well, I don't use it every day, so I regret it. I have a electric bike I don't use every day. I don't regret that. I have at home weights I can use to work out, but I don't work out every single day. I don't regret that. I think because he sees that every month he needs to pay that hot tub bill. And he's like, how many times did I actually use a hot tub this month? Zero, because I'm busy working. Or maybe he's also having to take the time to charge an electric car if he has one. I feel like so many purchases truly can be considered unnecessary if it's taking away money you don't necessarily have to spend or time you don't necessarily have to give. I don't know what he was thinking when he got this above ground hot tub. Maybe he thought it was going to be filled with hotties every weekend, and that's not the case. But it looks like he has a girl with him, so maybe he just thought he was going to have a little fun in that hot tub more often than he is having. Maybe they just don't use it enough for him to justify the fantasy of what it would be like to have an above ground hot tub. So I definitely get that this is a purchase that he definitely regrets.
How long have you had it for?
About 6 months.
And how many times have you used it within those 6 months?
Maybe three.
Maybe.
3 times.
What does that cost, anyways?
Too much.
Does it be for like 5,000, 6,000, 10,000?
Closer to 10 than 5. No.
Yeah.
Don't use it nearly as
Bring
much as I
girls
wanted
back
to.
to the hot tub?
No. No.
He ain't bringing no girls back to it. Now, because she asked that, now I know that's not the girl because I wouldn't ask that. I would be like, you know what, honey, let's put the hot tub use. Let's make it our Friday night thing we do. Get a little wine, drink a little tipsy, and have some fun. But at the same time, this guy just knows like it was just a bad purchase all around. He ain't having no cool hot tub parties as much as he thought he would, especially being that he just bought a home as well. He thought he was going to be able to entertain with that hot tub, and that's just not quite the thing. No one's taking the time to join homeboy in his hot tub extravaganzas, and that's why he regrets the purchase. Sir, maybe you wouldn't regret it as much if you bought it for yourself, but if it's not something you like to do unless there's some other people involved, preferably hotties, then you already know it's a whole coordinated act to put on an entire night filled with fun, especially if you're involving a bunch of other people. So I can see how this was easily a purchase he regretted for sure.
I believe him.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay, what would you rather use that money for then?
Probably paying off student loans.
Paid off all my student loans, but I actually don't think it was a good decision. I went to college during one of the lowest interest rate periods in history. What that means? That means that all of my student loans had very low interest rates. Low interest rates are actually very favorable for the borrower. If you have debt at a very low interest rate, it might actually make sense to just hold on to it. For example, if the cost of your debt is 2%, you can probably get more than 2% in the market over any long period of time.
And therein lies the point. The hot take is that if your debt has a low interest rate, I highly recommend that you're not so aggressive at paying off. Now, you can keep up with your minimum payments if you want, but at the same time, if you have a different avenue through which you can invest your money and have a return that's at a higher percentage than the interest rate on debt, you're going to snowball your wealth accumulation over time than if you were to aggressively pay off that debt and then have to start from point zero, being able to invest new money into an investment. Money is a math game. What's going in needs to be more than what's going out. So if he could get a return higher than that 2% interest rate that he had on his debt, he would have been way further along financially, wealth-wise, net worth-wise, than him paying it off first. So that's interesting that that's a financial regret that he has, but it actually makes sense if he had a way where he could grow his money faster than the debt accumulation of his student loans.
I regret buying my AP. For years, I put this watch on a freaking pedestal. Bro, I thought this was the peak of all my achievements. I had to grab it. I promised myself once I hit a specific net worth that I would buy this on the spot. It literally took me years to be able to buy this. 7 days after buying it, I didn't even care for it anymore. I was psyoped into believing this is how you prove to the world that you're successful. Boy, was I wrong. It's a watch. It literally just tells time. That's it. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm grateful that I own it. But I'm realizing that the excitement wasn't actually owning the watch. The excitement came from the pursuit of working towards owning the watch.
And that's why he regrets the purchase of the Automobile baguette. Is the fact that it was the journey that gave him the excitement to purchase it, not necessarily purchasing it. That's why so many people who have shiny object syndrome, once they reach that level of like being able to finally make that big boy, big girl purchase, all the desire for it just completely goes out the window, because you put it in your mind the goal to be able to achieve something, and then once you do, there's no more satisfaction. The satisfaction was just achieving it in the first place. But you know, the type of watch he has is a really big status symbol. So I don't think he should regret the purchase. Maybe he shouldn't have just blindly purchased it first off just because he wanted it. Maybe he should have like made sure that he did his proper due diligence to know if he was really getting a good price on it or not. But at the same time, he achieved a financial goal that allowed for him to be able to actually earn the right to buy that watch. But because it's not giving him much value, besides the fact that he achieved a goal, I get why this is a regretful purchase. But if you got it at a good price or it retains great value, especially for a trade, I don't think he should regret it. What do you think? That's my hot take on that. Is it regretful to buy luxury purchases such as a watch that would be considered an investment? Do you consider watches investments? Yes or no? Let me know down below in the comments.
I realize, yeah, you really gotta love the game. But these little material things are just trophies that collect dust on the side. The real value is in the journey.
Oh my god. When I tell you this was the worst purchase I've ever made in my entire life, because it literally looks like I have a dead sheep on my hip. So bad. It's it's actually insane. Hear me.
This bag is straight up oogly moogly. This is probably the ugliest bag I have ever seen. It's worse than mixed print. I would rather see a mixed print purse because it has its own aesthetic. This bag is literally oversized, extremely furry. It looks like she has a dead animal with a little chain link for it to put around her arm. Like, this bag is atrocious. Girl, I regret the fact that you purchased the bag, let alone you regretting that you purchased it, okay?
Now, I really wanted a fun winter fall bag, and I thought, what would be more fun than like a fluffy, oversized bag? However, I did not realize what oversized meant. This isn't even oversized, you guys. This is the most insane thing I've ever seen. I mean, you can fit like an insane amount of stuff in there, but yeah.
This bag is so big. It literally looks like it's impossible for you to bring it as a carry-on. You're going to have to pay that extra cost if you're flying with that bag because they're going to treat it as a bag that needs to go right on with the other suitcases, ma'am. This bag is huge. And what are you going to put inside of it? Like what? A lip gloss and your ID when you go bar hopping? Like you can't even bar hop with this bag, ma'am. This bag is atrociously, regretfully not the thing, not it. Somebody must have made this popular and said, you know, this is the new fashion statement, but I highly disagree, y'all.
This is getting returned tomorrow. I don't need to hear it. Don't even judge. Oh my god, why would you buy that? That's so fucking stupid. I completely agree.
My biggest financial regret that I've ever had in life was purchasing a home back in 2021 for these three reasons. Number one, I had to put a 30% down payment on my home. My down payment was roughly around $330,000. I bought my 2-bedroom, 3-bath townhome for $910,000. And the reason why we had to put so much down at the time was just because of my income. I was only making around, I think, $100,000 to $110,000. That was the only way we could get the math work.
As you can see, the housing market is cooked because this gentleman is making 6 figures and he still can't technically afford home ownership unless he puts a massive down payment on it. Who has $300K sitting in their savings account ready to pull the trigger on a home purchase? Such a small percentage of people can actually afford to live the American dream. At this point, the American dream is a psyop, a psychological operation to continue to condition us as the slave rats that they perceive us to be. They, as in the people that control all the wealth, okay? Because who can afford a home unless they are a freaking millionaire? Seriously. I see why this home has been a regretful purchase for him. Because how fast is the housing market actually going to appreciate to compare to the return he could get if he was investing his money into stocks or investing his money into a legitimate business that has a great cash flow? Let's hear what he has to say in regards to his home purchase. So far, I definitely see why he considers this a regret. And I want y'all to let me know in the comments, just as a general, do you consider purchasing a home a financial regret or not, and why? Let me know your hot takes.
HOA, etc. It's roughly around $4,200. If I was renting right now, I could probably rent a really nice 2-bedroom condo or apartment for $3,500. So that would save me $700 a month. However, had I just not bought a home, I could have taken that $300 and $10,000, $20,000 that I used as a down payment and just invested in the stock market. We all know the stock market bottomed in 2022, and you see where it is today, right? I could easily have an extra, at the very minimum, a couple $100,000 in my stock portfolio. I probably am paying an extra, I don't know, $700 to $1,000 more per month by owning a home rather than renting one. And then number 3, owning a home is just really, really overrated. There's maintenance that you have to worry about. I've already had to replace an AC, and my home is like 3 to 4 years old. So
his home isn't even old. It's barely 4 years old, and he's already having to replace the AC. Scam. On top of that, you already know there's going to be other major repairs that need to be done because everything is made so cheap now. You're not really getting value for how much you spend on things. Scam. Sometimes I feel like life is just built in with the level of cookage I just cannot fathom. Every day I would be so upset to have to deal with a responsibility that I thought was just going to give me the freedom that I was being sold. He would save way more money and be able to invest to get a better return on his dollar if he was just renting. So let me know down below. Do you think home ownership is overrated? Especially in this market, do you think you're better off thriving financially over the next coming decades if you were renting versus if you were a homeowner, and why? Let me know.
It's actually really, really new. There are a lot of expenses that come with maintaining a home, and you have to do it yourself. If I lived in an apartment complex, I could call the landlord and then they would send somebody to help me fix the problem. Honestly, if I could do it again, I would just rent a nicer apartment or a condo, whatever, in a nicer community, and then just invested my money instead in the stock market. But again, everybody's different. Everybody has different ways to invest and build wealth. Real estate is not one avenue of building wealth that I really like.
Because it comes with so much responsibility. When you own your home, it's really not an asset until you've accumulated enough appreciation to be able to make a profit in the event that you resell your property. It's not an asset unless it's cash flowing. That's what makes something, in my book, considered an asset. Something that can not only hold its value, but that can make cash flow over the coming years. And I see why he is seething with so much regret, because he know his money will do way better in the stock market than it would be sitting in his home. If y'all enjoy watching this video, be sure to check out my others here. And if you want to know how you could be a YouTube content creator like myself, check out my course link in the description. Y'all don't want to miss my next video, so subscribe and turn on notifications, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.